स्निग्धचिता सुप्रणेता भग्मिनं च रसप्लुतं प्रभुपदो गतो प्रणमामि भक्ति चारु पदम। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतीशे नमः। शंकर्षणा कारणतो सई गर्भदशई च पयब्दीशई शेषश्च जश्चांश्च कलास नित्यानन्दखरं शरणं ममस्तु। पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तवतरं भक्तकं नमामि भक्तो शक्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पति गोपेशो गोपीका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वागीसजस्व वदने लक्ष्मीर्जस्व च वक्षसि यस्ते हृदये संवितं नृसिंहमहं भजे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
दास पे दया होगी, चित स्थिर होवे हो कैसव जावन यर सुख संगे अभ्यास परा मंद निज कर्म दोष से ये तन जातना भजन में प्रतिबंध भजन में प्रतिबंध गुरुदेव बड़ी कृपा करी गौर बन माझे गोद्रुम में दिया सा लेकिन कब प्रभु समर्थ दोगे दास पे दया होगी चित्त स्थिर होवे हो सहनशील चित्त स्थिर होवे हो सहनशील नाम साधना होगी नाम साधना होगी अब है बाधक हुआ सक्त कैसे करूं साधना रो रो कर प्रभु तेरे चरण में रो रो कर प्रभु तेरे चरण में करता हूँ मैं वंदना करता हूँ मैं वंदना गुरुदेव बड़ी कृपा करी गौर बन माझे गोद्रुम में दिया था गोद्रुम में दिया था गोद्रुम में दिया था हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे
Thank you very much, Mataji, for your beautiful offering of Kirtan. And we welcome all of you for today's evening session. Today morning we had a spectacular spiritual program where so many great souls, they offered their homages to Guru Maharaj. Now we have a lot of uh, Guru Maharaj God brothers and God sisters giving him homages. So first we would like to thank you all for coming on time, and those who are in online also. We are welcoming all of you. As I say always, it's not that you are not here, you are very much here. And we are again started decorating the beautiful Samadhi of Guru Maharaj with fresh flowers. And then today at the end there will be beautiful Kirtan, and there is a surprise waiting for all of you. So now we will be having remembrance by Her Grace Malati Mataji. Malati Mataji is Srila Prabhupada's very senior disciple. If you read ISKCON's history, her name comes so many times because of her dedication to her spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So let us all hear from Mother Malati. I will just remind you all that we are having Hindi and English and Hindi and Bengali translation simultaneously going on in our one link. So it is the same link that we have given in the morning. So please, you can take advantage of that translation. বাংলায় যারা অনুবাদ চান সেই অনুবাদটি সকালবেলা যে লিংকে इंटरनेट लिंके पाठानो হয়েছিল সেই একই লিংকে আপনারা बांग्लाয় এই प्रोग्रामটির অনুবাদ पाबेन। हिंदी में भी जो लोग हैं, जो भक्तगण हैं, उन सबसे अनुरोध है कि वो इस सुविधा का लाभ उठा सकते हैं जो इंटरनेट के माध्यम से आप सबके पास अभी लागू है। सो मालती माता जी प्लीज। हरे कृष्णा।
Hello, Hare Krishna. I want to offer my respectful and humble obeisances to His Holiness Srila Bhakti True Maharaj and to his disciples. Today in America, it is July 4th, and it is the Western calendar date of the disappearance of Maharaj. I've been asked to speak a few words, and I will try to do so. Om Agyantamirandasya Nanana Sakalaya Chakshumilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. As Maharaj and myself were only some days apart in age, I'm left to wonder, why is it that I'm still breathing and Maharaj is gone? I've no ability to further expand Srila Prabhupada's movement, no ability to assist those who do, as did Maharaj. I'm not capable of gently guiding thousands of seeking souls back to Godhead or closer to Srila Prabhupada, as did Maharaj. Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. Bhishma wanted to impress upon Maharaj Yudhisthira that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. And so what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the exhausted philosophical inquiries of sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. The best policy is to simply abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, of all kinds of distress, what is the most painful? Sri Ramananda Roy replied, apart from separation from the devotees of Krishna, I know of no unbearable unhappiness. Madhya Lila. So these were a few words taken from purports by Srila Prabhupada. So I will just offer a few brief personal experiences. I'll start by saying I know that some devotees felt very unsettled about the medical fact that Maharaj was in an induced coma when he departed. What will become of such a person, they wondered. But please consider, Krishna promises his devotees, surrender unto me and I will protect you. Have no fear. He didn't give any other conditions, just surrender and I will protect you. Have no fear. That he came to the aid of such a foolish fallen person as myself when I was once in a coma allows me to understand just how much he is there with Maharaj, his most surrendered, loyal, and obedient servant. He never left Maharaj's side. Maharaj was a strong and consistent voice for how we all need to respect and cooperate with each other. And at the same time, he could be like a lion when it came to protecting ISKCON. He came exhibiting the mood and the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. And we would be so proud of him. We felt reassured when we were able to see him in this combined move, this respectful, cooperative voice, and the fierce side of protection. He was always impeccably applying himself to the situation at hand. A few random memories. In 1994, there was a gracious meeting in Sridham Mayapur that paved the way for re-entry into ISKCON for Columbus, Ohio, and New Vrindavan Temple, because at that time, both temples were excommunicated from ISKCON. At a time when anyone connected to New Vrindavan was practically shunned by all ISKCON temples and members, Maharaj personally welcomed us, a contingent of us who had come from the USA to Mayapur. He greeted us like old friends, which in fact we were, in the front courtyard of the temple, sitting on a bench alongside Radhanath Swami, who had brought us there. Maharaj was so kind and reassuring that we could certainly resume serving Srila Prabhupada's mission. When asked, he explained that the GBC are Srila Prabhupada's watchdogs who must bark when they see something is amiss. That was very important for us to understand. He always saw himself as a younger brother, since he came toward the end of Srila Prabhupada's manifest Leela, and therefore he was always deferential to his senior god brothers. I was told that there was some concern by some of these senior god brothers when Srila Prabhupada announced Maharaj as a candidate for sannyas. So they expressed their concerns. Prabhupada assured them, don't worry, if he falls down, it will be to the mode of goodness. One of his wonderful qualities was his extraordinary attention to detail, again, much as Srila Prabhupada. When asked, he explained that the GBC are Srila Prabhupada's watchdogs who must bark when they see something is amiss. That was very important for us to understand. He always saw himself as a younger brother, since he came toward the end of Srila Prabhupada's manifest Leela, and therefore he was always deferential to his senior godbrothers. I was told that there was some concern by some of these senior godbrothers when Srila Prabhupada announced Maharaj as a candidate for sannyas. So they expressed their concerns. Prabhupada assured them, "Don't worry. If he falls down, it will be to the mode of goodness." One of his wonderful qualities was his extraordinary attention to detail. Again, much as Srila Prabhupada. Especially in the realm of devotee care, which is a big topic. He tried his best, he did his best to ensure his disciples understood the need to actively practice caring for devotees. And this was practically experienced by all of us. At one point, he had arrived in New Vrindavan for filming some of the epics from the Abhay Charan series. Although he didn't want it, one of his enthusiastic disciples gave him a very costly, decked-out Mercedes-Benz armored limo. Armored means bulletproof. So at one point, Maharaj was called away for a weekend of preaching, somewhere else outside of New Vrindavan. And the car was left behind in the care of a young assistant. At that time, there were many young devotee offsprings in New Vrindavan. And as soon as they realized Maharaj was gone, but the car remained behind, they implored that young assistant to allow them to take a quick ride. And he foolishly relented, giving them the keys. So anyone who's familiar with New Vrindavan knows very well the roads and the mountains and the sharp curves, and these boys are inexperienced drivers at best, and certainly not familiar with a powerfully built car with a capacity for great speed. Within seconds, they hit a downhill curve going too fast, and they flew off the road, rolling over and over, landing upside down. Because the car was so strongly built, no one was severely injured, and one by one, they sheepishly crawled out of the wreck. When Maharaj returned, Jai Shri Devi Dasi, who was one of the first responders on the scene, having heard the horrendous sound of the crash, took the driver to meet Maharaj when he returned. Neither one had any idea how Maharaj would react. But the only thing he said was, "Are you all right? Were you or anyone else hurt?" Not a word of chastisement, not a word about the now totaled vehicle. In fact, he engaged this same young man who had crashed the car in his service. During this period, he held Vyasa Puja. He didn't hold, his disciples held the Vyasa Puja. But there was instructions from Maharaj. And the instructions were that this Vyasa Puja should be in glorification of Srila Prabhupada. And it ended with a great big Jaladuta-shaped cake that took several devotees to carry it into the temple room. But it was such a wonderful Vyasa Puja, and the disciples were speaking so beautifully about Srila Prabhupada, and it really captured my heart to see how nicely and thoroughly they were being trained. Maharaj elicited new disciples to promise that they would never leave ISKCON, even if I do, he said, as part of their initiation vows. And hopefully all of you will remember this now that he's left the planet, because certainly it is a big test when the spiritual master departs. Maharaj embodied loyalty to Srila Prabhupada, just as Srila Prabhupada embodied loyalty to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And this loyalty to Srila Prabhupada is the strength that is the backbone of ISKCON, and it will ensure ISKCON continues for the next 10,000 years. His only fault might have been that sometimes he was too much of a gentleman. He always saw the best in everyone. He saw their potential. He never let someone's shortcomings interfere with an opportunity for engaging them in Krishna's service. And yet often these same persons who are getting mega mercy would squander that mercy, even to the point of Maharaja's detriment. And yet he never chastised them for this. As a leader, he was fierce and at the same time gentle. He knew when and how to stand up to opposition and do it in such a way that he was beautifully victorious. And I'm thinking of one incident in 2016 when there was a rather intense occurrence going on. And as the chairperson for the GBC at the time, it was upon him to bring about solution. It was upon him to show leadership. And he did it in such a wonderful way. It was actually a moment where I was very proud to be part of ISKCON, and I saw that the GBC was in good hands. While personally serving Srila Prabhupada, he was lamenting, and he wondered how he, being the most junior, inexperienced bhakta, was given the most intimate service of his beloved Guru. Srila Prabhupada, he expressed this to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada replied to him that when the Lord descends, he brings his intimate associates, and similarly, so does the spiritual master. Then he asked Maharaj, "Do you know what happens to them when they come?" Maharaj didn't know. Prabhupada said, "They become his secretary," which was what role Maharaj was rendering that service at the time. Lastly, I'd like to mention his wonderful book, Ocean of Mercy, A Search Fulfilled, about his coming to and serving Srila Prabhupada. And this book was made even more wonderful by the way he glorified his god brothers who had sheltered and guided him in Krishna consciousness. I thought that was a sign of an advanced soul. The book was almost more about other persons and less of himself. In short, while some say he was a Vaikuntha man, myself and others saw and see him as the embodiment of a true Prabhupada man. But indeed, both are true. On this day, July 4th, Western calendar, the big deal holiday in America. But the big deal holiday means very little in the face of the disappearance of such a great soul. I've mentioned a few words, but I would like to urge you, his disciples, to hold on to his lotus feet for dear life. What does it mean to hold on to the lotus feet of the Guru? Simply it means to follow his instructions. If you do that, then everything will be all right, because Srila Bhakti True Maharaj himself was following the instructions of his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and in turn, perfectly imparting these same instructions to all of you. Hare Krishna.